Hello and welcome to the channel. I'm Cindy Daychuck with Queen Bee Creations. Thanks for tuning in. I was just gifted a set of watercolor paint brushes. So these are, let me dig one out to show you. So these are filled with watercolor paint and they've got a tip. Where can you see that best? They have a tip like a brush. And you use it similar to watercolors. Now, here's the thing. Kind of best doing these, just using them as a paintbrush on a fairly flat watercolor surface. So I am just using dollar store paper to play with these to begin with. I have 3 little surfaces. This one is still wet. All I did was I took regular watercolor and I did a very faint green base and a very faint blue sky. The rest I'm doing on plain white paper and we're just playing. I haven't used these before, so I'm just testing them out. I'm playing with them and I thought y'all might want to play with me. So that's what we're gonna do. We're just gonna do some things that we can do, little framed picture or some little cards or something like that. So we're not doing anything earth shattering. We're not doing any major painting. You don't have to have any skill for this. You'll see what I mean. We're just playing. But for those of you that don't want to invest in like a watercolor tray and you've got the water and you've got all kinds of brushes and how do I start from nothing? These are already filled for you. You don't have to be switching back and forth. You don't have to have, you know, a big palette to be able to mix your colors or anything. We're just gonna do them together. We're just gonna play with them. You want a different color? Grab a different pen. Let me pull you in overhead and we'll get playing. Okay, I'm just gonna get started on this little one first. And what I was thinking that I'd start with are a couple of colors of green. And so I'm going to start lightest first. And all that I'm looking at doing is doing all kinds of green lines. So some going straight, some going curvy. And this just gives me an opportunity to be able to see what the colors are, what they do. So now I'm going to take some straight down so that I get a little bit of a heavier line there. And now I'm going to switch. And when you're practicing with new brushes, new pens, new anything, it's often kind of good just to start with, you know, something small, like a little project. Don't put yourself under tons of pressure to have to be able to kind of create anything major. And then let's just do a little bit of this one. And I just want to get more of just the tip. I don't want to have big, thick lines of this, because it's fairly dominant color. So if you're using a light hand, I'm kind of able to get some thinner lines. All right, I'm good with that. I'm good with those colors. Let me try some of these pinks. So maybe the pink, the kind of golden yellow. Well, I don't know those 2 yellows. So let's try this. I think there's a violet. There's a couple of violets. Let's try those 2. I don't know. So here what I want to do is I just want to do some small little flowers. No rhyme or reason. These ones just happen to have petals. Some are, well, let's make you a 5 so we're consistent. These are little 5-petaled. Okay, maybe a little guy just popping up down there. And I'm thinking maybe let's take a darker, well, maybe the darkest violet. Let's try that one. And so on this one, I'm just going to kind of do the tips on some of these longer, really dark. Okay, and then just some yellow, just a little bit of yellow. I'm just going to dot the yellow around in kind of like a circle. So it just looks kind of loosely formed. Now this will kind of blend. You know, you'll get some that if you're layering like this lighter color on top, you may get them sort of blending together. And that's okay. Don't agonize over any of that. We're just playing. All right, and that's it. That's our little wildflower garden. It doesn't have to be anything more complicated than that, because when we release this, we don't really have to wait for the edges to dry on this. You can see how just that little bit of a frame kind of sets that off. And that ends up being cute. That would be cute mounted as a card. I would maybe, you know, trim off those 2 edges because this is too narrow to decal, so that we square it off. And that's a cute little guy. I don't know. All right, so this one is sort of dry. So let's maybe see, green-wise, that was too light. Maybe we're going to be using these darker ones. And let's just see about, you know, if we were going to be adding just, you know, some simple little fir trees. I'm just dabbing this down, as you can see. I'm taking it lower than that tree line, because that green line there, because that's just my horizon line. And let's just layer that. I don't know. So we get a little bit more shading, a little bit more interest in there. I don't want to cover all my lights. Okay, so we get a little bit of that action happening. I'm going to want maybe a smaller one over here. You know what? I kind of like just the simplicity of that. What I'm thinking that I would like is just a little bit of definition on some of this. So I'm just wondering if I take one of my markers sideways, if I can get kind of a bit of a rough definition of some of that grass, so it looks a little bit more something-ish. And then maybe something similar with a bit of clouding here. And then, I don't know, can I wet this and soften that out a little bit? This is just plain water and a brush. So you're not going to be able to get rid of some of the definition of this, but it's definitely allowing some blending. Oh, and now you can see that that's bleeding up from my tree because I got the water close to it. Well, that's kind of cool. So you can get kind of a, all right, well, maybe, I wonder if we can try that then. Let's do, so that it's almost like we've got some trees in the background. Let's see if that would work. So I'm just adding some water up above it and tilting my paper that way because we want gravity to work for us to maybe pull some of that color up. And guys, this is how you learn. This is the, I don't know if that would work. Let's give it a try. Let's see how it goes. So that not all my trees are super close. You can see how that kind of bled some of that up into that line. I can take a damp but slightly wet brush kind of bleed it up a little more, soften it out. Okay, that's not a bad trial. If this one, I'm thinking maybe doing something upward, longer. So if I had maybe some kind of, I'm trying new colors because I haven't tried these colors before. So I'm looking at, okay, what do these look like? So let me just try doing like a rough. This one's a little bit more bud-like. So no great works of art here. And then let's add a little bit more of a darker pink in there for a little bit of just a little bit of an accent. So again, just keeping it very loose. I don't know what color this is. A little bit of a red. So we'll just add little touches of darkness here. And I'm just wondering how this might blend. So I'm taking my wet brush, wiping it off on a rag, and let's just see. Just kind of soften those edges, fill in all the color, but we've got some of that shading in there. Now I'm going to need that to dry a bit. So overlapping the colors can help it just intensify right in that spot. So we can use that with the brush to get some shading if we want. So it's not all just uniform, even if we're just using one color. So let's just take that up a little bit into that flower, which is a little wet, but that'll help. Okay, so today, playing with the paint brush markers, what I do like about them, I mean, can I do everything with them that I can do with the loose, like the palette of watercolors and with an actual brush and mixing them? No. But for doing quick, cute little things, these are awesome. So this, I'm not saying that this set is fantastic. My mom got it at a warehouse sale for $5. So they're not like the most amazing ones. But I don't think for what I'm doing, they need to be. I'm not doing anything particularly artist quality, but I did have lots of fun with them. So, you know, the long evergreen trees, which really wasn't fantastic looking, I cut apart and I made one into a little card, and then the other side I made into a little gift tag. And I think these are super sweet. So if I'm giving a little thank you note or a thank you card, I think this is nice and cute. This is a great little gift tag. The big flower, the kind of the tulips, again, I just turned into a card. Now, here's the thing. I get that there's a lot of people that are awesome card makers and they spend forever cutting out on their silhouettes or their crickets, and they're doing raised lettering, and I'm not that kind of card maker. But I think that hand painting something, sticking it onto a backing and putting it onto a card, I think that counts. I think that this gives the personalized touch, and just a little bit of scrapbooking paper in a contrasting color, right? This one with the blue, this one just kind of perks it right up. Our little quick little floral field, I want to give you an idea of just putting something into a frame, how that just automatically perks it right up. That wasn't anything major that we did, but look how cute that looks in a frame. And this is just one that I happen to have lying around in the shop. What I hope this gives you an idea, because it wasn't anything that I had planned. I just happened to visit my mom today, and she had just gone to a warehouse sale. So she gave these to me to be able to play with and try. So it wasn't anything planned. It was just took you along on the little journey that I took, giving these a shot, playing with them. I will definitely use them again, but I wanted to give you an idea of just how you could play with them, how you could create some things with it that you can then put to use. So whether you put them into a frame, whether you make them into little gift cards or gift tags, they all become, just those play sessions become infinitely usable. And I got to try out the paintbrush markers, the paintbrush watercolor markers, which was a lot of fun, and I can pull out again now. And I have a better idea of what they do. Let me know what you think of this one. As always, I love to hear from you. Give me an idea if you've used some of the watercolor paintbrush markers before and what you've done with them, how you like them, if there are things that I need to know specifically about them. Love to hear from you. I certainly look forward to seeing you on the next one as well. I don't have a clue what I'm going to be up to, but tune in and find out. Look forward to seeing you then. Until then, take care.